All right, everybody, happy Friday. We are coming at you live today. Usually we pre-record a couple of hours before and then I'm in the live chat, but now I'm actually here. Hello to Jason Whitlock. I see you in the chat. I'm very excited about that. Why are we live today? Because it's Friday. We need to have some fun. Also, there just happens to be a lot going on. First and foremost, in case you missed it, the big boy had his press conference. Oh, and I would say he missed the potty, unfortunately. It went just about as expected. He announced the glory of Vladimir Putin, as well as his Vice President Trump on stage. We'll get to that. Also, we've got Eminem. In case you're thinking, Candace, that name vaguely rings a bell. Yes, I'm referring to the white rapper that we all used to listen to when we were prepubescent and we wanted to feel edgy. The one with the bleach blonde hair, inspired a generation of 14-year-old boys to wear Echo Limited. No? Don't know what I'm talking about still? Not ringing a bell? Okay, he wrote a lot of songs about killing his baby mama, Kim. 8 Mile, the movie, yeah, now it's starting to come to you. Well, apparently Eminem is still releasing music, and guess what, guys? He is edgier than ever. He's written 2 diss tracks that feature me. Lastly, Jordan Peterson is now trending on Twitter under the headline, Hero or Hypocrite. And I hate to say, literally this time, I hate to say that I told you so. You guys were mad at me for pointing out that he was tweeting in a weird way. Now the public has caught on. That's what's coming up on Candace Live. So people in the live chat are calling him Feminem. They're calling him woke, shady. Here's what I will say about Eminem. I heard the music, and I'm going to take you through the lyrics. And it's become very apparent to me that Eminem is having his Hillary Clinton hot sauce moment. Now, if you don't remember what that moment was, back in 2016, she was doing the obligatory rounds and having to pretend that she likes black people. And she visited Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Club, as is mandatory for all presidential candidates, especially Democrat ones. And she had this moment when she was asked what she carries in her bag. Take a listen.
No more questions? They said no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
It's kind of weird. The more I watch that clip, the more I kind of like her. That's just like very honest. She's like, I'm pandering to black people and I just want to know if it's working. I've got hot sauce in my bag. In case you don't know why she said that, that was because at the time Beyonce's song Formation was viral, and there's this moment where she says, I've got hot sauce in my bag, swag. So Hillary Clinton was talking and speaking with black people, and she wanted them to vote for her. So what better way than to use a clever Beyonce lyric when asked what she always has in her purse? Because obviously she travels with hot sauce in her bag, swag. Get it? Is it working? It didn't work. Guys, she lost the election. So that's just a quick update for you. But you know who is putting that on, who is putting on his best Hillary Clinton 2016 impression? Eminem, in the ultimate pander to black America. He's just like, please buy my album. So many of them are flopping. I will say anything. What do I have to do? Who do I have to throw under the bus? So he starts by, basically, he has got this song, it's called Lucifer. And he obviously throws Kanye under the bus first. He's just like, oh, nobody cares about Kanye anymore, as if anybody even knows where Eminem is. Kanye is still making a lot of headlines. Eminem, on the other hand, is not. But I want to take you through these lyrics because there's a lot happening here. First thing I want to say is Eminem is obviously a gay man. It's very sad that Eminem cleaned out his closet but never came out of his closet. But let's get to these lyrics. I'll read them to you. He writes, or says, or raps, and Candace O, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gonna throw the fact BITCH forgot she was black at her. Oh, laugh at her like them crackers she's backing after her back is turned in a cute MAGA hat with her brand new White Lives Matter shirt. Haha, nope. Or say this MAGA dirtbag in a skirt just opened the biggest can of worms on the whole planet Earth. Call her Grand Wizard. Yeah, Candace, haha. or Grand Dragon or like the national anthem, I won't stand for the tramp. Why? But I can diss her, because my plans are to get in her pants, and I'll blow my chance if I answer back to her. Oh, but I can't diss her, because his plans are to get in my pants. Ew, you disgust me. Okay, a lot going on here. I think first and foremost, I just would like to again remind people that he is in fact a struggling internally gay man. And so there's a lot happening with Eminem, and we should pray for him. On the second point, the way that we know that is because he's actually recycling things that black women have said about me on the internet. Like, he's pretending this is original, calling me Candace. It's not. This is like he's just recycling the black women that don't like me on the internet, have a lot of names for me, one of them being Candy O. So he's like watched what they're saying, and I guess someone who was listening to him in the booth was like, yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, drop the beat. They're really, 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 really going to like that. By the way, there's a second song he also dropped. This one's called Bad One. And the lyrics are this about me. Yeah, this whole subgenre with all these corny white rappers, I'm not a fan of it. It ain't my fault, but like sock puppets, I had a hand in it. This $1,000 in my hand is just like what Candace did when she turned her back on her own race, because I have abandoned it. Oh my, so cool. That's a tough one. That's so tough. The black community is going to be going crazy. Not. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Actually, I'm doing this because I want to help him go viral, because this is sad. This is very sad. I want you to feel sad for Eminem, because this is just not the way for someone's career to go down the drain. And I want us all to do our part to help make Eminem relevant again, at the very least, and he can be relevant just by me speaking about him. He understands that. By the way, I did TMZ earlier, and they were asking me, like, you know, in part, though, aren't you honored that someone who is recognized as the greatest white rapper of all time is dedicating all of this time to you? And I said no, because it would have meant something if he was at his prime. As an example, Dave Chappelle, he made a really, honestly, it was kind of a hideous joke about me. I didn't think the joke itself was funny, but I did appreciate the fact that Dave Chappelle, who is the most famous comedian in the entire world at the peak of his career, was mentioning me on stage. Like when he was very sad about George Floyd and he did this whole skit and he said some awful things about me, I did have that moment where I went, wow, Dave Chappelle knows who I am. This is not that with Eminem. He is not at the peak of his career. He's at the end of it. His career should have ended like 15 years ago, and he keeps going. And so this is not a rapper that's at the top. He's actually doing he's going through a strategy that a lot of new rappers do, where they find out who is the big rapper and they start a beef, right? He's like, oh, nobody knows who I am, so I'm just gonna start a beef with Candace Owens. And he's just fading out of the American mindset entirely. So this is what he's come up with. And I wanna say this, genuinely, the pander here is pathetic. He's literally making a plea to the public. I hate white people. That's what he's saying. He's calling white people crackers. He's using a slur against his own people, while at the same time, unironically, accusing me of doing what he's doing. He's like, she turned her back on her own race, as he turns his back on his race and calls them crackers. I've never used slurs to describe black Americans because I don't have an issue with my race, but you very much have an issue with yours. And the other thing is, like, he doesn't even know what his audience is. Again, this feels very maybe could have done something in 2016 when the whole world was, you know, so anti-Trump and it was the George Floyd moment. He doesn't even understand what's happening. I mean, that conversation has broken in the black community. That's why Trump's numbers are up. Beyond that, I've been on The Breakfast Club, I've done Joe Budden. Like, black Americans are following this podcast. They actually like me. I went viral on a few of those channels, on Instagram channels the other day because of my conversation with Don Lemon. They're starting to hear what I have been saying, because back in 2016, when I was saying Black Lives Matter was a fraudulent organization, people were not ready to listen to that. But then what happened was they proved that they were a fraudulent organization, and people said, yeah, no, I think Candace may have been trying to tell us that, and she was right, and maybe I need to listen to her rather than listen to what other people are telling me about her. And one of those people that they're not going to listen to is you, Eminem, because you're just so irrelevant. Your music isn't good anymore. And like I said, you're the one that's actually cosplaying a race that you aren't. You're desperate for black Americans to pick up your tracks because you abandoned the audience of a lot of people who were listening to your music. I'm a trailer park kid, and then what did you do? You dunked on kids from the trailer park. You dunked on actually an entire middle class of white people who loved your music. You dunked on people in the country. For what reason? For what reason other than you misread the room? And the reason that you misread the room, rather, is because what's actually happened to Eminem is he's an out-of-touch elitist. He is. This is what happens. He is now a lefty elitist. He belongs on a campaign trail with Hillary Clinton when she runs for the third or fourth time. That's what he should be doing, because he's pretending to know anything about what's going on. The reality is that a lot of those people in the country that he doesn't like, take it from me, I moved to Tennessee, have a lot more in common with the people that he's trying to appeal to. I think he thinks he's appealing to, like, what, the hood? They have a lot more in common because these are regular people who are suffering in different but similar ways, who recognize that the economy is not good, and an Eminem track is not going to make it better. Here's the last thing I want to say about Eminem. He is a lesson to a lot of people out there that you need to know when it's time for you to retire. You don't want to retire on this note, right? Eminem is 51 years old. He has not modified his brand at all. He's not grown up. Most people know that you do have to evolve your brand, right? You can even see this as just one example. Miley Cyrus, like in 2016 or maybe a little bit before, she was like shaking her butt, we can't stop twerking. And now she's cleaning it up and she's singing music that's still catchy, but it's not so crass. And she's actually giving interviews saying that, this is who I was because I wanted to break out of the Disney shell, and this is who I am, and this is where I'm going. And I don't think she gets it right all the time, but I can at least recognize that she's evolving. Eminem's not evolving. He still thinks that he's a 13-year-old boy who is rapping in his room, and that somehow people are going to find that appealing, when in reality, he's 51 years old. His daughter, or maybe he's older than 51, his daughter has just gotten married, which means that Eminem should be behaving more like a potential grandparent. He's granddad. This is granddad shady. You know what I mean? But granddad is not acting like a granddad. I'm going to need granddad to start acting like a granddad and not producing this trash to pander to the black community. That's what I want to say on that point. Now, speaking of a lot of the Americans who are suffering all around, we all work hard to support our families, and it seems right now like we're taking a step back every month instead of moving forward, because the bills are higher than what most people are bringing in every month, and you have to swipe that credit card to cover the difference, and it seems like the debt keeps adding up. But if you own a home, I want you guys to call my friends at American Financing. They can help you break free from that cycle. American Financing is taking people just like you an average of $854 a month. Think about what you could be doing with an extra $800 every single month and not having to worry about that minimum monthly payment. And even better, it costs absolutely nothing to find out how much money you can save. All it takes is a quick call to American Financing. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today and start your journey towards being credit card debt-free. The number is 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210, or you can easily visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right, now it's time to get into some stories. We don't have that pretty graphic because we are live, guys. We are totally, absolutely live. And the first person that I would like to speak about is Jordan Peterson, because my, oh my, I guess maybe I'm just terminally on the internet and I saw this happening, and I did this episode talking about Jordan Peterson on Monday, and so many people were angry at me. They were like, how dare you? Jordan Peterson changed my life. What are you saying? I'm saying nothing mean. I just have 2 eyes. I even have people accusing me, because I was covering this, I guess, 48 hours earlier than I guess the whole world caught on, accusing me of doing it out of spite or anger. I'm like, Jordan Peterson has been nothing but perfectly kind to me. There is no reason that I would attack Jordan Peterson. They're like, oh, well, he does some stuff for the Daily Wire. I would never attack the Daily Wire simply because they are the Daily Wire. I don't know how many times I can say that my friends still work there, like Michael, Matt, Brett. I don't want to see the Daily Wire suffer. I was covering Jordan Peterson because he was going viral on Twitter, and it was very obvious that a lot of real people were suddenly looking up and going, this isn't the Jordan Peterson that I know and that I love. Well, guess what? Yesterday, Jordan Peterson was trending all over the internet. I'm going to show you some of these trends. You have the first one, which says Jordan Peterson's public shift stirs controversy. Here's another trend that developed later. You can see it there. Jordan Peterson, hero or hypocrite? And the reason that he was trending, and I'm going to read to you what he actually wrote. Actually, let me read to you what Grok wrote. So this is the AI system, Grok on X, in case you're not on X, essentially just sums up whatever the controversy is. And this is what the AI wrote. So don't yell at me. This is AI. Yell at Elon Musk. You can add Elon Musk if you're upset. Grok wrote, Jordan Peterson, once admired for his lectures and teachings, has experienced a significant shift in public perception. Many followers and observers have expressed disappointment and concern over his recent behavior and statements, which they perceive as a departure from his earlier, more measured and thoughtful persona. This change has been attributed to various factors, including personal struggles, changes in his public stance on certain issues, and his engagement in online disputes. The discussions around Peterson's transformation highlight a broader conversation about the responsibilities of public figures and the impact of personal changes on their public image and influence. So yeah, I guess Grok can say it, Candace says it on Monday, and the world falls apart. But the reason that he started trending was because he wrote this post on Twitter. And it's a lot, and he did it again in sonnet form, or in haiku form, or in poetry. Here's what he wrote. The new Nazi troll rats, anonymously trumpeting your anti-Semitism doesn't rescue you from your mother's basement or from the demon of resentment, or make you more attractive to the women who take one look at you and shudder, and rightly bloody so. You are despicable, bottom-rung cowards using Gaza, 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 Hamas, Hamas as camouflage for your detestable cluster B psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and of course, sadism. I've got your number, you pathetic tantrum toddlers. You don't even have the courage of genuine bullies. Your Cheeto dust, I'm sorry to laugh, Cheeto dust covered, sweat stained, white t-shirted, hide behind your mommy skirts scum, disgust is wasted on you. Yeah, that's a lot coming from Jordan Peterson. And again, I have no personal issues with him. And I think that he has produced work in the past that meant so much to so many people and transformed so many people, women and men, but especially men. But how can you expect the public not to respond to that? How can you be so, I guess, married to how much he's impacted your life to perceive people responding to that as a form of hatred rather than what it is, which I think is legitimate concern. And so just to sort of back this up, his perspective right now is that everyone who disagrees with him on the topic of Israel is a Nazi troll, anonymous rat. And so what happened after he posted this was people who are very much not trolls with using their real names genuinely out of concern wrote to him. I'm going to show you some of their responses. You have Dr. Simon Goddock, who wrote this. Jordan, we followed each other for a while now, and I believe we respect each other's opinions, whether they align or differ. However, regarding Israel and the influence of the ADL and AIPAC on our society, I urge you to set emotions aside and independently analyze which group has not only funded Hamas, but has also consistently deceived and lied to the public. One does not need to be a supporter of radical Islamists to recognize and rationally address this issue. Another user named Brandon wrote this, Jordan, it's sad to see how far you've fallen. Your book, 12 Rules for Life, helped me change my life in some good ways in college. You've become everything you hated. I hope you can turn your life around for the better, as you used to inspire so many others to do. And lastly, I wanted to read this because I thought that it was very well written. This is from Lauren Chen. I actually love Lauren Chen. She's great. She wrote this. When you so publicly took on the censorious trans activists in 2016 or the neurotic feminists in 2018, despite the fact that those groups labeled you a bigot and even Nazi, you responded to them calmly and rationally. You didn't call these leftists a fraction of the names you now reserve for the online quote-unquote anti-Semites, despite how they were actively seeking to get you fired, deplatformed, and have now actually managed to hand you a professional censure. In fact, in several instances, where they would allow it, you actually sat down to converse with them, to debate their ideas. But when it comes to critics of Israel, it seems like your go-to is instead ad hominem attacks. And despite your preference for precise language, and yes, to a lesser extent, there do exist actual trolls, it seems that you, like many others, are falling into the trap of equating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. Where are the rational rebuttals to those who question Israel's role in Western politics? You might say they don't warrant your time, but either this anti-Semitism, quote unquote, is a worrying growing trend, or it is beneath you to address. It cannot logically be both. And if it is indeed not worthy of a response, it is strange that you would spend so much time online chastising them. That is so well said. It actually doesn't even need any more commentary, because that's exactly, I think, how so many people are feeling, where it's like, There are so many people that all of us have looked up to, all of us within the conservative movement, and we thought they were thought leaders, we thought they were debate leaders, and on this one topic, they quite literally transform into leftists. They just call everybody names. And they are doing something that I have recognized and something that I'm going to refer to going forward as the Nick Fuentes fallacy, okay? So there is an actual fallacy that is called reductio ad Hitlerum. It's a logical fallacy that's actually a type of an ad hominem attack. And the rationale is essentially guilt by association that's meant to derail arguments and elicit anger from the opponents. Like, I'm basically going to just say, like, Hitler also said this, Hitler dog logic. Hitler also likes dogs, therefore you support Hitler. I cannot believe how much I am seeing this in the conservative side when it comes to Nick Fuentes. So now the argument, the fallacy is reductio ad Fuentes, right? So they are like, this person, we don't like him. And so when we can't win an argument, we're going to point to the fact that Nick Fuentes also agrees with this argument. And somehow that means we've won. No, it doesn't mean you've won. It's a logical fallacy and it's obvious. Now, you may not have seen it because I'm sure a lot of my viewers do not listen to Don Lemon. But similarly, Don Lemon and I were having a back and forth and he threw up a clip of Nick Fuentes. In my opinion, he picked a very weird clip. There's tons of Nick Fuentes clips on the internet. He showed a clip of Nick Fuentes calling me beautiful and calling me intelligent, and then speaking about Jordan Peterson. And he sort of gave me this opportunity. I don't know what he wanted me to do. If he wanted me to say, like, I don't believe in this clip, like, just because me and Nick Fuentes agree on any topic doesn't mean that we agree on all topics. And I'm not going to respond to that fallacy. I'm starting to even see people on the right, and you saw this, even Piers Morgan brought up Nick Fuentes. It's like every interview I do, they're trying to present this opportunity to basically say, but Nick Fuentes also thinks this. And don't you want to denounce Nick Fuentes? Don't you want to disavow Nick Fuentes? I'm like, okay, so if Nick Fuentes says and agrees to the concept that children should not be having trans surgeries, children should not be going under the knife, then I'm supposed to say, oh, well, Nick Fuentes thinks that, so I don't think that anymore. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Also, by the way, I want to say this very strongly because there is nothing more woke in my view. Like, if you see a person doing this and they're pretending to be a person on the right or a conservative, you should know that deep down inside they are a leftist, right? They are a leftist. Do you disavow? Think about that from a psychological perspective. Do you disavow this person? I've never made a vow to that person, so why would I have to disavow that person? Oh, you just want me to disavow a human being because you're telling me this human being is awful, when in reality, the first people that you should think are highly suspicious are the ones asking you to play their little disavowal game. Because the reason they do that is to try to assert themselves as a lord in your life. Like, I am going to tell you, you're actually going to make a vow to me by agreeing to disavow this person who has the same rational idea as you. Again, giving the, I'm using an example here of, like, we should not be censoring the American public. We should not put children under the knife having surgeries because they're confused about their gender. These are logical positions. And like I said, all across the conservative movement, they're starting to use this argument, reductio ad Fuentes. And so when they say something that is bad, right, and the public responds to it, case in point, Michaela Peterson, I want censorship of the word filth. And then the public naturally and organically responds to that and they're infuriated with it. Then they get to hide behind their shell and say, oh, no, look, but also Nick Fuentes disagrees with it. So everyone disagrees with me as a Hitler Nazi Fuentes person. It's a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense because they don't have the courage. They're actually cowards. They do not have the courage to debate their ideas legitimately. That is why it's a fallacy, because they're basically trying to establish a boogeyman that says, ooh, you can't think that too. Fuentes also thinks this. I'm not playing that game. So you can keep cutting clips of Nick Fuentes like Don Lemon did, like Piers Morgan did. Do you disavow? Nope, buddy, I am not going to sit here and disavow someone that I've never made a vow to. It's a nonsense. It's a game. It's a leftist tactic. If there is something that Nick Fuentes has said and you say, Candace, do you agree with this? I will happily disagree if I don't agree with it, because that's what I always do. That's literally what I've made a career doing. I have the courage to say, I don't agree with this person on that or this person on that. But I also have the courage to say, yes, I agree with this person, that we should not be transing children, that we should not be doing this. And so I am just really tired of what I believe to be neocon cowardice, when it comes to rationally debating their ideas. And I think it's because they don't think they can win on the basis of their ideas. And so they start utilizing these fallacies. Anyways, you guys, moving on, because we have to get, obviously, to Joe Biden. He is our resident, obviously, and I don't know why they said he was going to have a big boy conference. Big boy, he's going to go potty all by himself, and go potty he did. He indeed did go potty, and he did it right at the top very instantly. He was late, obviously. I think it was like 45 minutes late to this big press conference. Obviously, Zelensky's fighting the war, but he's always dressed in his military fatigues because he's selling to you that it's totally fine that they're laundering all of our money overseas through a very corrupt Ukraine. By the way, when I show you this clip of Biden announcing that Putin is the president of Ukraine, I also want you to pay attention to how unbelievably tiny Zelensky is, because that also caught me by surprise. Take a listen.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
I'm just shook by how much of an imp Zelensky is. By the way, just to be clear, I still want to knock him straight in the face. He is the person laundering our money. Now they just bring the criminals main stage, which I appreciate about America. Like it's such a criminal gang at this point at the top. These oligarchs are taking all of our money. We're going to work. That they're like, we're just going to put them main stage. You can see the gangster. And this gangster is taking all of your money by pretending that he needs all of it while his wife is shopping at Prada in France. And they just don't care. They don't care. And so I know I should be talking about what Putin said. I mean, what Biden said, but I actually want to talk about how short Zelensky is, because that's exactly how I expected him to look. And I think I can take him. Now, in terms of Biden not even being aware that he referred to Putin as the president of Ukraine, I don't know if that's like a vote for Putin. Putin is obviously, I think, a lot more intelligent than the both of them that are on that stage, and all of this just feels like a performance. But it gets worse. He then referred to his vice president, Trump. Take a listen.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one.
That's worse, because he didn't even realize, he didn't catch himself. He just kept on going. He believes that Trump is his vice president. That would be a very strange arrangement. Obviously, there was a presser after, and somebody asked him, hey, man, Trump's already tweeting about the fact that you called Putin the president of Ukraine, that you called him your vice president. What do you think about that? Take a listen.
Answer, you referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody.
And that, my friends, might be the most honest Joe Biden has ever been. He says, listen to him. Listen to Trump. I obviously have no idea what's going on. I am getting on in these years. Obviously, as we covered earlier this week, you've got Parkinson's doctors that are visiting the White House, broken in the New York Times. And again, I just want to be clear, this is all performative. Like everything that you're seeing right now, they're trying to get the public invested in this emotionally. Like, oh my gosh, the elites had no idea he was this bad until the debate. That's a joke. And the New York Times, which is still, in my view, an arm of the CIA, and that's not, I'm not saying that to be funny. I hope you guys are very aware, because you watch the show all the time, that Operation Mockingbird was real, and that CIA was funneling money, a lot of money, to the New York Times, so the New York Times would basically write whatever the deep state wanted written. And I believe it still goes on. There's been no evidence whatsoever that that program was discontinued. And to the contrary, a ton of evidence that it's still going on, because it's very clear the journalists are not serving the American public, and they're rather serving deep state interests like never-ending wars. And so the New York Times is now reporting that there's a Democrat rebellion, you guys. Oh gosh, yeah. They're saying here that donors to the pro-Biden super PAC are withholding roughly $90 million. The article reads, the decision to withhold such enormous sums of money is one of the most concrete examples of the fallout from President Biden's poor debate performance at the end of June. Some major Democratic donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC, Future Forward, that pledges worth roughly $90 million are now on hold if President Biden remains atop the ticket, according to two people who have been briefed on conversations. Blah, blah, blah. It's all a lie. That's it. It's all a lie. Obviously, the CIA likely made the decision to replace Biden because it's just getting too difficult for them to keep pretending he's the president. He cannot put together a decent sentence. They have to hide him. And they're tired of having to hide him, coming up with excuses. Oh, it's COVID, it's this, it's that. They actually need somebody who can simply string together a sentence. So what they're doing is they're trying to, as I said, get Democratic voters invested in the idea that there was this moment where it all came together for them. And it was during that debate performance. And now they're doing the right thing. And the Democrats are going to get rid of him. No, they're not. They're just putting on a play. This is a high school performance, and the idea is to make people believe that democracy is not an illusion when it so obviously is an illusion, and there is an entire deep state that is pulling the strings and telling people when to go and when not to go, and they have decided already who that individual is going to be that they are going to replace him with. Maybe it's Kamala Harris. I don't think it is. I think the struggle with her is that she's just not that bright, which was something that really surprised me, by the way. I was very stunned because I wasn't paying attention during the back and forth between Biden and Trump in 2020. I wasn't paying attention to Kamala Harris. I didn't realize, I guess, how much of an idiot she was. But she is one, and so I think they're probably going to go with, and I hope this is not right, I hope I'm not speaking this into existence, but someone more like Gavin Newsom. Yeah, I think that's going to be maybe what their play is. All right, guys, now it's time for me to tell you about something that you can do if you're worried about your investments. Goldco, you guys know that they're a great sponsor of this show. It seems like we've got something new to worry about every day. We don't really know who's running the country. There's the wars, the inflation, the persecution of political opponents. It never stops. So here's what I'm doing. I'm protecting my savings with gold and silver. You've probably heard me talk about them, Goldco, because they are our newest partner. They're a top-rated precious metals company with over 6,000 five-star reviews. They've helped me buy precious metals, and they couldn't have made the process any easier. Right now, all you have to do is make a minimum $15,000 cash purchase, and you'll get a 5% instant match in bonus silver. I mean, honestly, this could possibly be the easiest 5% you ever make. I'm just saying, so don't sleep on this offer. Once the bonus silver is gone, it is gone. So go to CandaceLikesGold.com to learn more. That's CandaceLikesGold.com, or you can call my friends at Goldco. The number is 855-222-GOLD. All right, now it's time to get into some of your comments regarding episodes past, and then I'm going to jump into the live chat and read some comments, because why not? That's why the live chat is always so fun every day. In case you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm always in the live chat every day, every episode at 3 o'clock, well, actually 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. But these first few comments are pertaining to Don Lemon. I don't know why he picked that clip for me to go viral of him asking me about homosexuality. I guess he thought that I was going to shirk at the idea of saying that to his face. Nope. I want everybody to find Christ. This person writes, they removed Don Lemon from CNN, but were unable to remove CNN from Don Lemon. I thought that was a very funny comment because it's very, very true. Actually, at one point in our discussion, he says, I'm establishment. Like I said, you guys probably won't watch the full discussion because it's Don Lemon. But you should, because it's a very funny discussion. This person writes, I love the way you rebuked him for laughing at the idea of Christian persecution. It's high time Christians develop a backbone and defend the faith boldly. I agree. And like I said, I was sickened by the fact that he just didn't even blink an eye. He didn't even bat an eyelash when he went from chastising me about how Jewish people were feeling to literally laughing in my face about how Christians are feeling. And we've allowed that to happen. So I don't blame him, I blame us, and it is definitely time for a turning point. Darren writes, I'm not a Christian, but I greatly admire the way Candace defends her faith here. The bias against Christians has really gotten out of hand. Totally agree, so well said. This user, Alessia, on the topic of Jordan Peterson, writes, I'm a 25-year-old girl and I started following JP when I was 20. I thank him for helping me understand how relationships sometimes work, but his political views aren't clear anymore. I see comments praising JP for his psychological work, but none of them point out his current political stances, especially his daughter's controversial tweets. Thank you, Candace, once again for speaking rationally. Thank you for that comment. And like I said, I was just kind of assessing, taking temperature. I saw which way the wind was blowing. Maybe some of you guys were not on X and didn't see what was happening, and so my episode genuinely surprised you, but it's unfortunate. I genuinely feel badly about it, because as I said, I've met this person. He is a nice man. He's never been anything but kind to me. I just don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening in his life or what he believes anymore. This comment came from Annette. My Annette is blowing up. By the way, I had like a person from Austria, Australia, Poland. I didn't know how international my Annette was becoming, but this person, I got into a bit of a lively discussion with this Annette user, because you know I go on there and I can send you guys voice notes back. And I'll just read it, whatever. Let me read it and I'll tell you what I responded to him. Aaron wrote to me, Candace, I've always been a fan of yours. I agree that Christian persecution is the most undercovered story today, especially in countries like Nigeria. That said, I've been unsettled by your recent comments. Solomon Morel was obviously an awful person, but to use his case, a legal extradition issue, to minimize the horrors of the Holocaust just didn't sit well with me. My grandfather survived the Holocaust. His parents and 4 siblings were killed. He walked with a limp for life due to constant beatings. I don't think there's a parallel in recent history where a regime attempted to systematically annihilate a people and implement a final solution like the Holocaust, which is why it's given attention. We both respect Eisenhower, who warned about the military-industrial complex. He also warned that people would eventually downplay the Holocaust, which is why he asked people to document its horrors. I miss the old Candace who focused on issues that mattered more to us Americans. Peace. So I was, I guess, lively when I responded to him, and I was grateful to him. I said, I actually want you to answer me because this is so frustrating to me, because at the same time that you're saying, like, yes, I agree Christians are persecuted, but how dare you downplay the Holocaust? What are you talking? You couldn't downplay the Holocaust if you wanted to. We've got like mandatory training in school about the Holocaust. What you have downplayed is every other Holocaust that has taken place on the face of the planet. And the first time that somebody starts talking and speaking about those Holocausts openly against Christians, the response is, oh, look at this 7 seconds where she said something that I don't agree with about the Nazi scientist. Is she downplaying the Holocaust? And then they try to make that go viral and they start sharing pictures. Like one person shared a picture, me and the Holocaust survivor, take that, Candace. Okay, can you show me a German civilian survivor? Like, can for 1 second, this is what I actually said to him, I said, can for just 1 second, can we get a break and talk about somebody else? I said, how do you not perceive the narcissism of that, the sheer and utter narcissism that I did an entire episode that was dedicated to speaking about the horrific things that happened to German-speaking civilians. They did not vote for Trump. They just spoke German. They didn't vote for, pardon, I said Trump. They didn't vote for Adolf Hitler. They were not Nazis. Their children were lined up and shot. And 40 minutes of showing what they lived through. 40 minutes of showing the documentary in which you could literally, because somebody recorded it, the cars running over them as they were alive, running over their legs. And the response is, I just feel like this took the spotlight off of the Holocaust. That sickens me. Like, if that's your perspective, I hope that you understand that as a Christian, it sickens me. And to constantly say that this is the first time, and what I said back to him, I was like, first and foremost, there were open calls to exterminate the German race. Theodor Kaufman wrote a book about exterminating the German race before all of this took place, and basically saying that they should just sterilize the entire German race before this took place. And again, he wasn't aware of it because nobody ever talks about any of this stuff. It's always the spotlight, again, on the Holocaust. And I am learning more about Christian history, and the idea that what the Bolsheviks did was not intended just for the Christians is a nonsense, okay? It was a bigger Holocaust that happened against the Christians, and I'm not gonna shove about that. I'm not gonna shove about that. I've done my public school training on the Holocaust. I get that the media only wants to stay focused on that, but a lot more people suffered. And so what I said to him was, I'm gonna pay attention to my inbox of all of the descendants of these horrors that were enacted against German-speaking civilians in the Sudetenland region, who are thanking me for using my platforms to talk about something they've never been allowed to speak about because of laws in their country, okay? So I'm not gonna apologize for that. I am grateful to this person, by the way, because we are still talking and dialoguing, and at the end of the day, I believe in more speech, not less. That's what I said to him. I'm like, really, I wanna understand you. Like, how do you not perceive how to the world that just looks so narcissistic and selfish when for once it was about somebody else? So that's my perspective. Anyways, let me jump into the live chat, see what's going on. I can understand Jordan If you watch October, I'm sorry, I missed your comment. Christians need to stick together, Candace. Yes, I agree. I want to build those bridges. I want Christians to be as tribal as other people are, you know, and to talk about what's happened. We have a right to talk about our history. It's a nonsense for us not to be able to talk about our history. Someone said 15K. Did we hit 50K? Okay, no, we didn't, because I've promised you guys that if we hit 15K, I'm going to do the hot sauce challenge. So that's happening. We did hit 13K. This is actually amazing to see. We have a person that says she's going off. We love you. Thank you so much. No apologies. Someone says, boo-hoo, my music sucks. No, your music sucks. Oh, no, maybe he's talking about Eminem. Yes, Eminem's music sucks. And this person just says, preach. This individual says, I appreciate your defense to Catholic people from Spain. Yes, that was another thing. I did a whole episode talking about how many Catholic cathedrals were bombed. It's just not about you all the time. And I think we all have to be reminded of that it's not all about us. Pardon? What'd you say? Oh, nothing. Okay, I thought that somebody in my control room was talking to me about maybe I lost connection. We did not. Anyways, you guys, this has been amazing. This is, I think, a very successful live episode. Do you like this, by the way? Take time to comment, hit the like, a thumbs up, please, and also comment and tell me, do you like this format? What did you think? How did we do? I thought I did pretty good. I don't think I said anything that YouTube is going to hit me for. I hope not. Yes, Marshall has lost his balls. As I said, he is a closeted man. So the end. That's the end, guys. We will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, by the way, if you like this content, please go to locals.com and support the show. Do that right now in any capacity that you can. If you can, I understand a lot of people are struggling right now, but we just want to keep the show completely independent. We have a very small team, and I never want to be a part of a corporation ever. I think this is the way to go. I want to speak to the people about what's on my heart, what's on my mind, and I just do not care what the media says about me anymore. I've never felt more sure of this direction, which is, in my viewpoint, a Christian direction, because it's truth. And what everybody needs, whether you're a Christian or not, is to hear the truth unapologetically. All right, guys, I guess we'll see you on Monday.